Wesley's going to look sharp. I'm going to go do my hair as well, and there we see Wesley So has played his king's pawn forward, as Jovanka predicted. Wesley So recently doing a video course on this opening. Magnus Carlsen replies with the Sicilian defense. This shows Magnus Carlsen, he's in a fighting mood. We could be about to see your favorite opening, Kaya.
Ooh, Nidor.
We didn't see the Nidor. Wesley So
jinxed it.
Yes, we did jinx it. Wesley So brings the white bishop out, giving check. Magnus Carlsen blocks that check with his own bishop. A set of bishops leaves the board. This opening is renowned for being super solid for white. This is the type of opening that white uses when he doesn't want to take too much risk, when he just wants to kind of clamp on the position. We do see that white has traded his light squared bishops, therefore he puts his pawns on white squares, and we will see Wesley So go for something that we call the Maroczy bind, where it's just very difficult for black to break out a bit later on. So Magnus Carlsen now just having the first real think of the game. He will be deciding how to place his pieces. Both sides will just develop over the next 5 or 6 moves. There we see Magnus attacking a pawn with his knight in the center. Wesley So defending it. A set of pawns leave the board in the middle, and we will see both sides castle. I think on this move, both sides kings will rush over to safety on that right side. Magnus Carlsen just slightly slower than his opponent in these early stages. Maybe he just didn't expect this from Wesley So. Wesley normally does go for that Sicilian Najdorf we mentioned, where it's all about fighting chess, really dynamic, really direct play. But this one will become more of a maneuvering game, and there we see Magnus Carlsen's king rush off to the right. Wesley keeps disappearing.
Yeah, seems like he's not quite ready. But you know, it is really early in the morning for him, sitting in Minnesota in the US, probably like 9 a.m. or something like that.
Yeah, normally chess players like to get up slowly, and but okay, so far he's playing a very quiet game, and like David said, the idea with this, especially with those 2 pawns, is just to control the space. Now this is where it becomes a kind of game of Magnus Carlsen trying to break out, and it's almost like a game of thumbsies. I don't know if you played that game. Both sides will be trying to squash the other one, and Magnus Carlsen moving his rook to attack the pawn on. Okay,
and Magnus there bringing his knight out. This one's very cagey so far. I've actually had this exact position myself, even when I was about maybe 8-9 years old. This is a very well-known position. Yeah, I mean, it's very solid for both sides. I would expect to see Wesley So castle now, hit the white king.
Finally.
Yes, finally.
Finally got to made that special castling move, which gets the king into safety. King wants to be behind pawns. And yeah, Magnus and Wesley are still following what we call theory, which is basically lines that we've been seen played many, many times before.
once black's queen moves, and it will have to move because it's attacked by the white rook, once that black queen moves, white's queen
and watch how
start giving checkmate.
How the white king will zigzag its way to safety, and it will start moving now. So Magnus gives a check again, and the king will take a step forward. Still, if you note, there's no queen checks, and now the king is now biting distance.
Oh, but what's happening to the party here? What is happening? Oh,
I think it's still under control. I think it's still under control, but I'm wondering if there's a trick here. Does the white king, can it step back? Should it step forward? I think it should step back, but this is very narrow. I think the winning path for Wesley, so okay, it's white's move here. Stockfish evaluations, those are just suggesting, I think, moves for black on the next turn, but white's king steps back now. I think that was correct. If white's king had stepped forward, I think black would have been okay.
The bar is definitely wanting to check if we're awake here. We are. This is very intense. Is Magnus Carlsen heading for a loss in the first game here?
He is heading for a loss. The problem is black's queen, it has to move. If black continues giving checks, if black's rook drops down giving check, white's king will just move across to attack the black rook, and there will be no more checks. It will be a double attack.
And I think we're finished.
Wow, Magnus Carlsen resigning. If the black queen moved, he would have been checkmated, and yeah, shocking start for the world champion there.
And let's just keep Magnus in the